Some families say, "We'll invest in your future," and then quietly invest in your sister's fourth wedding instead. If your parents have ever treated your hard-earned opportunity, your startup fund, college fund, house deposit, as a convenient backup wallet for the golden child's next fresh start, this letter is for you. Today's story is from Melissa, a 46-year-old woman whose grandparents left her a startup fund to finally launch the business she'd been talking about since she was 20. Her parents promised to keep it safe in their account. Then, when her sister announced her fourth wedding, that fund quietly vanished. She didn't burn down the reception. She built a case, then a company. One, the responsible one who got the startup fund. There's a line my mother used so often it might as well have been stitched on a pillow. Your sister leads with her heart. You lead with your head. It was supposed to explain everything. Why my sister Chloe got rescued and I got praised. Why she got bailouts and I got bills. I'm Melissa. I'm 46, and for most of my life, I was the responsible one in a family that treated responsibility like a free service. Chloe is 3 years younger than me. In old photo albums, I'm the kid holding the cake so she can blow out the candles. I'm the one steadying her bike while she waves at the camera. Our parents never said golden child. They said free spirit. They called me the Rock. We grew up in a small suburb in Ohio, the kind with 2 main streets and a high school football stadium that doubled as a town identity. Dad worked for the city utilities department. Mom was a part-time teacher's aide. We weren't rich, but we weren't counting coins either. The money stretched farther because my grandparents, my dad's parents, helped when they could. Grandpa Joe ran a hardware store until his knees gave out. Grandma Evelyn was the type who slipped $20 bills into birthday cards and said, "Don't tell your mother." They didn't have a mansion, but they had something better: discipline, savings, certificates of deposit with handwritten notes paper clipped to them. As a kid, I thought they were just organized. I didn't realize they were planning around my parents. Your folks, Grandpa would say, half laughing, are good people. But they're not planners. You are. By high school, I understood. When Chloe maxed out her first credit card on clothes, my parents called the bank in tears and begged for mercy. When I needed books for community college, they said, "You're so responsible. You'll figure it out." I did. I got a part-time job at a copy shop. I packed my lunch. I commuted on the bus. Chloe borrowed my car and left the gas tank empty. At 19, she moved in with a musician. At 21, she moved back home. At 23, she married a guy who worked in finance and wore expensive shoes. My parents took out a small loan to give them the wedding she deserves. When that marriage imploded 2 years later, my parents blamed his temper. When my first serious relationship ended because he didn't like that I worked late, my parents shrugged and said, "Well, you're married to your job anyway." Chloe's second marriage was to a guy she met at a yoga retreat. They had a barefoot backyard ceremony. My parents cashed a CD early to help with the down payment on their house. When divorce number 2 arrived 18 months later, Mom said, "At least she's trying. She believes in love." When I bought a small condo on the edge of town by myself, my parents said, "That's practical." Chloe's third marriage was to a man 15 years older who called himself an entrepreneur, but never seemed to have a product. My parents emptied a chunk of their retirement to pay for the destination wedding. When he ghosted her for a business opportunity in another state, my mother cried. How could he do this to her after all we've invested? I listened and thought, you invested in him. They hadn't invested in me once. Not with money, anyway. Emotionally, I got the "we believe in you" speeches. Financially, I got nothing. I don't say that with bitterness anymore. It's just a fact. The one exception, the one-time financial opportunity, had my name on it, came from my grandparents. It was after Grandpa Joe died. I was 32. Chloe was freshly divorced for the second time. We sat in a cramped lawyer's office with wood paneling and a plant that had seen better decades. The attorney read Grandpa's will in a slow, careful voice. There were small bequests to cousins, a donation to his church, a modest sum to my dad. Then he said my name. To my granddaughter Melissa, he read, I leave the contents of my business savings account, approximately $45,000 at the time of writing, with the wish that she use it to start a business of her own, should she choose, or to otherwise secure her future in a way she sees fit. I stopped breathing. $45,000. For me. For once, not for the family. My parents looked as surprised as I felt. For Chloe, the lawyer continued, I leave my gold bracelet and a note. May you never lose your shine, but learn to steady your footing. Chloe huffed, then laughed like it was a joke. Grandpa always said you were the entrepreneur, Grandma said, patting my hand. He saw the way you talked about starting your own HR consulting one day. He wanted you to have a runway. My eyes burned. I talked about that dream exactly twice to her, at the kitchen table, late at night, after we'd cleaned up holiday dishes. I hadn't realized Grandpa had been listening from his recliner. I don't know what to say, I stammered. Say you'll think about what you want, she said, not what everyone else needs. The account wasn't to be handed over as cash. The lawyer explained that, for tax reasons, the funds would be transferred into a CD in my name, with my parents as temporary custodians until I hit 40. It was a structure Grandpa had set up when we were kids, originally meant to be a college business fund for me. He wanted to make sure you had time to decide, the lawyer said, but he specified clearly that the beneficiary is you, not the family, not the household, you. I remember that word, you. For the next few years, my mother referred to it as my little nest egg. Is that startup fund still sitting there? She'd ask. You know, if you don't use it, it's just losing value. It's in a CD, I'd say. It's doing fine. At 35, I thought about cashing it out. I'd been promoted to HR manager at a regional company, and the idea of hanging my own shingle tugged loud. But my grandmother had just had a fall. My dad's blood pressure was up, and Chloe was in the middle of divorce number 3. The timing felt wrong, so I waited. At 40, I revisited the paperwork. The CD had rolled over. The amount, with conservative interest, sat just under $60,000. Enough to cover a year or two of expenses while I got a consulting business off the ground. Enough to to buy a small office or pay for certifications. Every time I looked at the statement, I heard Grandpa Joe's voice. "Not everyone gets a runway, kid," he'd say. "Use it when you're ready." I told myself I'd know when that moment was. I did not expect that, when the moment finally came, someone else would have already decided for me. 2. The startup fund that belonged to all of us. I didn't plan to start my business at 45. I planned to start it at 50. Life had other ideas. The company I'd spent 15 years with got acquired. New management swept in, all buzzwords and bold promises. Within 6 months, half my department was gone. My role ballooned, my title didn't, and the culture shifted from people first to numbers only. One day, after a meeting where a VP said, "We don't have time for employee feelings," something inside me snapped. I went home, pulled out the old folder labeled Grandpa's Fund, and spread the statements on my kitchen table. Almost $60,000. Earmarked for me, with my name on the beneficiary line. My heart beat faster. I made a list. Things I'd need to start a one-woman HR consulting shop, LLC registration, insurance a website, and branding a laptop that wasn't 10 years old, 3 to 6 months of bare-bones living expenses. While I built a client list, I did the math. If I kept my car, stayed in my condo, and didn't try to impress anyone, I could realistically make that fund stretch for a year and a half while I got off the ground. For the first time in a long time, I felt excited, not anxious. Excited. I decided I'd wait until after Chloe's latest big announcement to tell my parents. I didn't want to overshadow her. That's a sentence I can't believe I just wrote, but it's true. She decalled a week earlier, voice bubbling. "I have news." She'd said, "Can you come to dinner Sunday? I want everyone there." I braced for it. 4th engagement. Chloe had a specific tone when she was about to reveal a new fiancé. Bright, breathless, tinted with the urgency of someone who needs you to clap immediately before you ask questions. Sure enough, Sunday's dinner came with a ring. We gathered around the same table where we'd blown out candles as kids. Mom fussed with lasagna. Dad pretended not to know what was happening, though he'd already ironed his good shirt. Chloe walked in late, as always, with a man none of us had met. "This is Ryan," she announced. "And we're engaged." The ring was big. The man was handsome in a Jim Bro, real estate agent sort of way. My parents reacted on cue. Mom squealed. Dad shook his hand too hard. There was hugging, shrieking, toasting with cheap wine in mismatched glasses. I hugged her. "Congratulations," I said, truly hoping this time it would stick. She pulled me aside to show off the ring. "He's different," she whispered. "He believes in me. He says 3rd time was practice, 4th time is the charm." I didn't have the heart to point out the math. As we sat down to eat, Mom launched into wedding talk. "Where are you thinking?" she asked. "Church, vineyard, destination." "We were thinking maybe a rustic barn vibe," Chloe said, "with twinkly lights and long farm tables. Oh, and definitely a live band. No DJs." "That sounds expensive," Dad said slowly. Ryan shrugged. "We'll figure it out," he said. "You only get married once." Everyone laughed, except me. I nearly choked on my salad. After dinner, as we cleared plates, I told my parents my news. I'm thinking about finally using Grandpa's fund, I said, to start my HR consulting business. With everything changing at work, it feels like the right time. Mom's smile froze. What fund? She asked. Blinked. The startup fund, I said. Grandpa's business savings account that got rolled into the CD. The one the lawyer set up in my name, remember? She laughed too quickly. Oh, that, she said. I thought you'd forgotten about that little thing. Little thing. $60,000. Dad cleared his throat. Well, technically, he said, that money has been in our account. We've been watching it, moving it, making sure it's in the best place. You know, stewarding it. The way he said, our made my stomach knot. Glee, it's mine, I said carefully. My name is on the beneficiary line. It was Grandpa's wish. He shifted. It was his wish that it helped the family, he said. And we've always seen it that way, as something that could be used where it's most needed. Most needed, I repeated. Mom jumped in. And right now, she said, your sister really needs a win. After everything she's been through, we're finally at a place where we can give her the wedding she deserves. Don't you think Grandpa would want that? I stared at her. You're not saying what I think you're saying, I said. She smiled in that tight way she had when she'd already decided something. It's all family money, she said. We're not saying you can't use it. We're just saying we might need to rearrange some things. Help everyone. You've got your job. You're stable. Chloe's starting over, stable. As if stability was luck, not the result of decades of saying no to the chaos that came so easily to my sister. Let me see the statements, I said, my voice suddenly sharp. If you've moved it, I need to know where it is. Mom bristled. Do you not trust us? She demanded. There it was. The same lever. I felt the old urge rise to backpedal, smooth it over. Tell them, of course, I trusted them. Of course, they knew best. Of course, my life could wait. I swallowed it. It's not about trust, I said. It's about clarity. If I'm going to risk my career to start this business, I need to know exactly what resources I have. That's just responsible. I left that night with a knot in my stomach. On Monday, I called the bank. Hi, I said. I'm checking on a CD in my name, originally funded from the account of my late grandfather, Joseph's surname. I have the account number. The line clicked as the representative pulled it up. I expected her to say, yes, Miss Surname. You have approximately $60,000 scheduled to mature on. Instead, she said, at present, that account has a balance of $483.27. My mind went blank. I'm sorry, I said. There must be a mistake. The last statement I saw showed almost $60,000. She double-checked. I see previous balances, she said, but there have been several withdrawals over the past year. It looks like the certificate was broken early and moved into a household savings account under parents' names. And from there, she rattled off a list of debits. Venue deposit, catering company, a luxury bridal boutique. Do those payees sound familiar? She asked. They did, just not for my wedding. 3. The fourth wedding that ate my future, I drove to my parents' house without calling. I don't recommend it for blood pressure reasons, but sometimes your body makes the decision before your brain does. Mom was on the phone when I walked in, voice pitched high. And the barn has these gorgeous beams, and if we drape fairy lights, oh, hi, honey, she said, covering the receiver. We were just talking about Chloe's big day. She didn't look surprised to see me. That was my first clue. I took a breath. "Can you hang up?" I asked. "We need to talk," she frowned. "I'm in the middle of it's important," I said. Something in my tone must have gotten through. She sighed dramatically and told her friend she'd call back. Dad wandered in from the garage, wiping his hands on a rag. "Everything okay?" he asked. "No," I said. "It's really not." I sat at the same kitchen table where we'd went over my college acceptance packet, where Grandpa had taught me to balance a checkbook, where my parents had cried when Chloe's second husband left. "I called the bank," I said, "about Grandpa's fund." Mom's eyes flicked to Dad. "Why would you do that?" she asked. "Because I was ready to use it," I said, "the way he intended, to start my business. And I needed to know the exact amount." Dad swallowed. "And?" he asked, as if he didn't know. "And," I said, "the balance is $483.27. For a second, the only sound was the fridge humming. I slid a printed statement across the table. "These," I said, tapping the list of withdrawals, "are the debits. The certificate was broken early, moved into your household savings, and then used for," I read, "Rustic Ridge Barn, Pearl and Lace Bridal, Everlasting Catering, and a company called Honeymoon Horizons." I looked at them. "Ring any bells?" Mom's chin lifted. "We're not hiding anything," she said. "That money has been sitting there for years. You never used it. We thought you moved on. Chloe is getting married now. She needs a hand. Grandpa wouldn't have wanted her to be left out." "Left out of what?" I demanded. "The line of people who have had their weddings paid for with someone else's future." "You are being very unkind," she snapped. "You have a job, a condo. You're fine. Chloe has been through so much. 3 bad marriages. Do you know what that does to a woman's confidence? We just want to show her she deserves something beautiful too." I stared at her. "Then you should have saved for it," I said. "Don't get to hand her my parachute and call it love." Dad stepped in, palms out. "Let's all calm down," he said. "It's not like we cleaned you out. You still have your salary. Your 401k. This was extra." "Extra," I repeated. "Do you have any idea what it takes to build 60,000 in a savings vehicle when you make what I make? When you've been the one covering your own emergencies while your sister gets bailouts?" Mom rolled her eyes. "There it is," she said. "The martyr act." I laughed, short and sharp. "This isn't an act," I said. "This is math." I pulled another paper from my folder, a copy of the original will language. "To my granddaughter Melissa," I read aloud. "I leave the contents of my business savings account with the wish that she use it to start a business of her own, should she choose, or to otherwise secure her future in a way she sees fit." I slid it toward them. "Not to my son and his wife to distribute as they please. Not to the household. To me." Dad's face flushed. "You're missing the spirit of it," he muttered. "He loved all of you." "I'm honoring the spirit of it," I said. "He loved all of us. He chose one of us for this particular gift. You decided you knew better." Mom crossed her arms. "Fine," she said. "How much do you want us to pay back right now? We don't have 60,000 lying around. The barn is non-refundable. The dress is bought. Do you want us to cancel the wedding? Humiliate your sister?" Her tone said she thought that would shut me up. It didn't. "I want you to admit what you did," I said. "And then we can talk about how to make it right." "We helped our daughter," she said. "That's what we did." I'm sorry your feelings are hurt, but at the end of the day, money is just money. Family is family. No, I said quietly. At the end of the day, choices are choices. You chose to take from the child who had something and give to the one who'd burned through everything. And you did it in secret. That's not help, that's theft with a Hallmark card. Dad slammed his hand on the table. Don't you dare use that word in this house, he said. We are your parents. And I am not your bank, I shot back. We stared at each other, 40+ years of unstated expectations finally visible. What do you want? Mom demanded again. I want my fund back, I said, in full. I know you can't conjure it out of thin air. So here's what's going to happen. I took a breath. In 3 days, I'm going to sit down with an attorney, I said. We're going to look at the will, the account history, and the transfers. If he tells me this is recoverable, we will pursue it. If he tells me it's not worth the legal fight, then I will chalk it up as the most expensive lesson of my life and adjust my relationship with you accordingly. You'd sue your own parents, Mom whispered, horrified. I'd hold you accountable, I said. There's a difference. What about Chloe? Dad asked. You want to ruin her wedding? Turn the whole family against us. I thought of Chloe, sitting somewhere right now with a Pinterest board of barn receptions, having no idea the fairy lights were strung with my future. This isn't about ruining her wedding, I said. This is about telling the truth. If the truth ruins it, that says more about the foundation than it does about me. Mom shook her head, tears springing to her eyes. I don't even recognize you, she said. For a long time, that sentence would have gutted me. This time, it landed differently. That's because, for once, I'm not apologizing for having needs, I said. You raised me to be responsible. This, I tapped the statement again, is me acting like it. I stood up. I'll send you any documents my lawyer gives me, I said. You'll have a chance to respond. I'd recommend you talk to your own attorney before you spend another dime from any account my name has ever touched. I walked out of the house and into the afternoon sun feeling shaky, but strangely clear. For the first time, I wasn't asking. I was notifying. I didn't know then if I'd win anything back in dollars. But I knew this. Whatever happened next, I was done letting other people spend my second chances. 4. The lawyer, the will, and the 4th wedding people imagine going to a lawyer about your own parents will feel dramatic. It doesn't. It feels like sitting in a too quiet room with a stack of paper and realizing the only thing between you and being steamrolled again is whether you're willing to sign your own name. I booked a consultation with a local estate attorney, Mr. Klein. Late 50s, kind eyes, office full of overstuffed files, and a coffee machine that had seen better administrations. He read Grandpa's will twice. Your grandfather was unusually clear, he said. This is not ambiguous. He pointed to the paragraph. To my granddaughter Melissa, to start a business of her own, should she choose, or to otherwise secure her future in a way she sees fit. He underlined as he spoke. That's not for the family. That's not to my son to distribute. That's you, I exhaled slowly. And the fact that my parents were temporary custodians, I asked, does that give them the right to break the CD and spend it? He shook his head. They had a fiduciary duty, he said. They were supposed to protect it for the beneficiary, not treat it as a slush fund. The bank history showing transfers to their household account, then to wedding vendors, strengthens your case. He leaned back. The question is whether what they did was wrong, he said. It's how far you want to go to correct it. I stared at my hands. What are my options? I asked. Civilly, he said. You can sue for breach of fiduciary duty and conversion, fancy legal term for using someone else's property as your own. You could seek a judgment for the full amount, plus interest. Whether you'd ever collect depends on their assets. He paused. Criminally, he added, you could talk to the district attorney about elder fraud statutes, but those usually protect the older person, not the younger. This is more they stole from you using authority you gave them, then someone took advantage of them. So I'm the elder in this story, I said, half joking. In terms of being taken advantage of, he said. Yes, I thought of my mother's words. It's all family money. What happens if I do nothing? I asked. He shrugged. Legally, nothing, he said. Morally, they walk away believing there are no consequences for taking what was meant for you, and any future assets they're in charge of yours, your grandparents, their own, are at risk of the same treatment. He watched me. What do you want? He asked quietly. No one had asked me that in this context before. Not what can you live with, not what will keep the peace. What do you want? I want, I said slowly, to make it very clear that my money and my opportunities are not communal property. I want that on record. And if there's a way to recover at least part of it without bankrupting them, I'd like that too. He nodded. Then we start with a demand letter, he said. Lay out the facts. Give them a deadline to propose repayment. Make it clear that, failing that, you're prepared to litigate. He smiled faintly. Sometimes, he added, a well-written letter does more than a screaming match at Thanksgiving. I hired him. He drafted the letter. It was 3 pages of calm fury, the will language, the account balances, the dates and amounts of withdrawals, the vendors paid, the legal duties they'd breached. At the end, it gave them 30 days to respond with a repayment plan, or he would file suit. We're not threatening to cancel the wedding, he said as we reviewed it. We're saying, however you choose to celebrate your other daughter, you need to make this right with the one your father named. He sent it certified mail. For a week, I heard nothing. Then my mother started calling. The first few times, I let it go to voicemail. Her messages swung wildly between crying and rage. How could you do this to us? Your grandfather would be ashamed of you. You're going to give your sister a nervous breakdown. On message 3, she tried a new angle. Are you really going to let some lawyer talk you into tearing your family apart? Message 4 was quieter. We didn't think, she said. We just saw Chloe hurting and your fund sitting there, and we thought it's just sitting. We always thought of it as the family cushion. Used it for house repairs too. It wasn't just the wedding. That last part was new information. House repairs. I pulled the statements and circled a handful of older withdrawals I'd missed: roofing company, HVAC service, my name technically attached to money I'd never agreed to spend. It was like watching a time lapse of erosion. Bit by bit, they'd worn away at a gift meant to give me altitude. 30 days passed. No repayment plan. Mr. Klein filed the complaint. He served them formally. It's when things shifted from private to public. Because lawsuits, even if they settle, leave paper trails. and paper trails talk. Chloe called me 3 days after the papers arrived. "I cannot believe you," she said. "Mom is a wreck. Dad's blood pressure is through the roof. How petty can you be? It's just money." "It's my money," I said, "left to me by someone who trusted my parents to protect it. They chose to spend it on your 4th wedding. I'm simply asking them to honor what they were supposed to do." "They were just trying to help," she snapped. "You haven't needed that money for years. You could have started your business any time. They thought you'd moved on." "I didn't need it yet," I said. "That's different. And even if I never used it, that doesn't make it theirs." She scoffed. "You're jealous," she said. "You've always been jealous because I have more excitement in my life." I actually laughed. "Chloe," I said, "I am not jealous of 3 failed marriages and a 4th funded by embezzled inheritance. I am exhausted." She hung up. Word spread in the family. As usual, people took sides at first. Some cousins whispered that I'd lost it, that I was suing Mom and Dad over nothing. Others, especially the ones who built their own stability from scratch, pulled me aside in grocery stores and church parking lots. "Good," one said. "Maybe it'll make them think twice before trying that with the grandkids' funds." "I always wondered where all that money they didn't have for us went," another admitted. The real turning point came not from my side, but from Grandpa's sister. Aunt Ruth was in her late 70s, sharp as a tack, and not fond of nonsense. She requested a copy of the complaint. After she read it, she called my parents. "You stole from the girl Joe trusted the most," she told them. "You didn't respect his wishes. Don't you dare blame her for pointing that out." When my mother relayed that to me in an outraged tirade, I felt something unwinding in my chest. For once, the difficult one in the story wasn't me. It was reality. We never made it to trial. Mr. Klein sat down with their attorney. They negotiated. In the end, we reached a settlement. My parents signed a formal acknowledgement that the fund had been intended for me. They agreed to repay $40,000 over 10 years, half from cutting back on discretionary spending, half from adjusting how they planned to distribute their own estate. Any future accounts earmarked for me or my future children would be kept separate, with me as direct owner. It wasn't perfect. It didn't put the original $60,000 back in my account overnight, but it put something in writing that mattered, a line, and it told me something else. If I wanted to build a business, I couldn't keep waiting for a perfectly restored runway. I had to start with what I had. 5. Building without their blessing. If this were a movie, I'd tell you that the day the settlement check cleared, I marched into my boss's office, threw my ID badge on the desk, and walked out into the sunlight with theme music playing. Real life was slower. The settlement gave me enough to cushion a transition, but it was still less than Grandpa had intended. And the relationship damage with my parents was real. I had to hold 2 truths at once. They had betrayed my trust by spending the fund. They had also agreed, however grudgingly, to repair some of the damage. That didn't erase what happened. It just meant I wasn't walking away empty-handed. I sat with that for a while. I cut my expenses. I canceled subscriptions I didn't care about. I negotiated lower bills. I made peace with the idea of working part-time while I ramped up my own clients. Then, one Friday afternoon, after a particularly soul-sucking meeting where a VP said, "We're not humans, we're headcount," I realized staying was its own kind of theft. Of my time, of Grandpa's intention, of my own belief that I could do more than just survive. I typed up my resignation letter. 2 weeks later, I turned in my badge. The first morning I woke up without a corporate job, I made coffee, put on jeans instead of slacks, and opened a blank document titled Services Melissa Surname Consulting. It was terrifying and exhilarating. I built my website on a cheap platform. I designed a simple logo. I emailed every small business owner I'd ever met through my company, through friends, through community organizations. "Hi," I wrote. "You know me from Place. I'm starting my own HR consultancy focused on small teams who can't afford a full-time HR department, but still want to do right by their people." Some wrote back with congratulations. A few said, "Actually, we could use that." My first paid client was a local bakery that had grown from 5 employees to 20 and was drowning in paperwork and interpersonal drama. They paid me a fraction of what I'd made at my old company. It felt like a fortune, not because of the amount, because of what it represented. Money earned doing something I chose, on terms I set. Over the next year, my roster grew, slowly, unevenly. Sometimes I lay awake at night wondering if I'd made a terrible mistake. But then I'd remember working for a company that treated people like lines on a spreadsheet had never been security. Security, for me, was the ability to generate my own value, to not be beholden to a paycheck someone else could erase with a merger. As my business grew, my parents' calls shrank. They oscillated between pretending nothing had happened and bringing it up in passive-aggressive jabs. "Well, some of us don't have a grandpa to fund our dreams," my mother muttered once when I mentioned landing a new client. I didn't argue. I knew the truth. Grandpa had funded the chance. I had done the rest. Chloe's 4th wedding went ahead as planned. Rustic barn, fairy lights, long wooden tables. I was invited. I went. Not because I'd forgiven everything, because I wanted to see it with clear eyes. The space was beautiful, in a magazine spread sort of way. My sister was radiant in her dress. They had hand-lettered place cards and a dessert table and a live band that played Don't Stop Believin' like it was still 1987. During the father-daughter dance, my dad cried. My mom dabbed at her eyes and squeezed my hand. "This is what she's always deserved," she whispered. I watched the fairy lights reflected in my wine glass and thought about inflation and opportunity cost and the lifetime of stories my sister would tell about how much love had gone into this night. Later, when someone asked if I wanted a turn on the microphone to toast, I shook my head. I didn't say anything about the fund or the suit or the settlement. That night wasn't mine. My day would come later, at my own launch party, in a rented community room with cheap chairs and Costco cupcakes, where a handful of clients and friends gathered to clink paper cups and say, "You did it." No fairy lights, just hard fluorescent bulbs and real smiles. And strangely, I felt more celebrated there than I did in the barn. 6. The runway I built myself and yours. A year after I left my corporate job, my income from the consultancy matched what I'd been making before. Not every month, but enough months that it felt real. I'd paid my bills. I'd paid my taxes. I'd made the minimum payments on the settlement agreement I'd negotiated with my parents. I hadn't asked them for a dime. One afternoon, I sat at my kitchen table, the same place I'd once spread out Grandpa's will, and the bank statements, and the demand letter, and opened a new spreadsheet. At the top, I typed, "Future Fund Melissa." It wasn't a trust from someone else. There was no note clipped to it. It was just money I moved from my checking into a high-yield savings account. And it felt different, not because it was more valuable than Grandpa's gift, because I knew now that no one else would be asked to protect it better than I would. I set some rules just for me. No one gets to call it family money. No one gets access to it without a written agreement. No one gets to decide its purpose but me. Sometimes I imagine Grandpa shaking his head, chuckling. "Shouldn't have had to learn it the hard way," he'd say. "But you learned it. Here, what I know now, that I wish someone had told me at 25. Being the responsible one doesn't mean being a permanent donor to everyone else's emergencies. Having a fund with your name on it doesn't become less yours just because you don't spend it immediately. Family love that depends on you not asking questions about where your money went is not love. It's access. If you're listening to this and feeling that familiar sick twist, the one you get when you think about your parents, or your siblings, or your in-laws, keeping something safe for you, this is your sign. Ask questions. Request statements. If they call you ungrateful for wanting transparency, remember, people who benefit from your confusion will always find clarity rude. You are allowed to protect what was meant for you. You are allowed to start a business, or go back to school, or buy a house, or fund a quiet, beautiful life that nobody else understands, using money that was gifted to you. And you are allowed to say no when someone who has burned through every opportunity demands another one out of your pocket. If your parents have ever used your startup fund, college fund, or house deposit to pay for a sibling's wedding, house, or fresh start, called your savings family money, told you you'll be fine, while handing your chance to someone else, tell your story in the comments. If you're not ready for details, you can just write, "My runway wasn't for them." The people who have been there will know exactly what you mean. And maybe, just maybe, someone who's still deciding whether to hand over their own runway will see your words, pause, and choose differently. Because you deserve a life built on your choices, not on the debts of everyone around you. Grandpas everywhere would approve.